And today, guys, I want to talk about why receiving never actually felt safe and how I'm relearning abundance without losing myself. I've went back and forth whether I wanted to post this episode, particular topic or not, because sometimes I feel like, oh, maybe this is a little bit too personal. And then I think about that there are others out there that could really benefit from this topic, this content, and this information because it's not talked about that much. And sometimes the complexity and the layers, they often get disguised at other things. And I feel like just shedding light on this area can allow others to possibly see this within themselves. So what I want to talk about is actually something that's been just quietly shaping my life in the background for a long time. And I didn't see it until very recently. It's not about money, but money is where it can show up the loudest. It's about receiving. This could be with like receiving help, receiving money, receiving support, receiving something good without that feeling that it's actually going to cost me later. For me, receiving has never felt neutral. It's felt loaded. Like the moment that I take something in, I lose ground somehow. For most of my life, I've been the person who eventually just lets things go. Like I don't fight hard for it. If someone's wronged me, I'm just going to move on. If someone's owed me money, I didn't ask. If someone or something impacted me emotionally or financially, I just simply told myself, it's fine. I'll figure it out. On the outside, that can look very spiritual and it can look like forgiveness. It can look like detachment and it can look like choosing peace. But underneath it, that's not what's happening. I wasn't actually choosing peace. I was protecting myself. So the belief that I finally saw the clarity in was this, that if I receive, then they're going to want more from me than I want to give. This was not a clear thought that I repeated. It wasn't a story that I knew that I was running. It was more like there was something in my body. It was something that I really believed, but I just wasn't aware of it. Once I saw that, everything else started to make sense. For people conditioned early on into unsafe dynamics, emotionally, relationally, or through intimacy, receiving was never clean. So receiving attention, receiving kindness, receiving help, receiving care, it didn't come with clarity. It came with expectation, shifted boundaries, a sense of debt you didn't agree to, and consequences if you tried to say no. Your nervous system learns something very specific. Receiving equals obligation. Receiving equals loss of control. Receiving means I might not get to say no later, and that's not a mindset problem. That's survival learning. This pattern doesn't disappear when you grow up. It just kind of changes shape. And it looks like undercharging, letting things slide, avoiding repair, avoiding legal or financial conversations, feeling uneasy after receiving anything, rushing to give back so that no one can claim you. Inside, the message is, if I take this, I'm trapped. I even spiritualized this for years. I told myself things like, it's their karma. I don't want to cause any stress. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to take from anyone. I don't want to be abandoned. For a long time, that felt like maturity. But what finally landed for me was this: avoiding action isn't always spiritual. Sometimes it's just familiar. Sometimes it's fear dressed up as virtue. So what shifted everything for me was realizing this: receiving doesn't make me bad. Receiving doesn't obligate me beyond what I clearly agree to do. Receiving does not erase my right to say no, my responsibility to hold my own boundaries. I've learned that me expecting someone else to hold a boundary I set is not going to happen always. And it's up to me to hold that boundary. And if this is something that you need to learn spiritually, you will be put in situations to test you in particular. So you think that, oh, this is happening to me, or this person is doing this. I gave them this boundary and they didn't hold it up. When really the spiritual lesson wasn't that they're supposed to hold it up. The spiritual lesson is that you are supposed to hold it up when they tried to push beyond it. That was big for me and not easy. And so the last one is the core of it, because the real wound for me was never money. It was actually losing the right to refuse. So no one ever taught me or taught my body the difference between conditioned receiving and clean adult receiving. Conditioned receiving, it's vague, it's unspoken, escalating. Clean receiving, it's explicit, it's contained, it's mutual, and it doesn't turn into entitlement later on. So my body didn't need affirmations. It needed proof. This is what I'm practicing now. I only receive in ways that feel clear and contained. Clear terms, clear limits, clear agreements. And when I receive something, even something small, I don't rush to manage the discomfort anymore. I don't immediately give back. I don't over-explain. I don't shrink. I stay with the discomfort. And I remind myself, I can receive and still say no later. I'm allowed to close the door. Receiving does not give anyone ownership over me. That's how safety gets rebuilt. I also had to be honest about how this showed up for me in intimate situations. A lot of my yeses weren't actual desire, or I wasn't quite ready to move into the places that I went in. They were appeasements, and they came from the fear of disappointing, fear of losing the connection, fear of being seen as difficult. And that's not intimacy, that's just survival. So there's something important that I need to clarify here. It's not that my body learned better not engage at all. That's actually not what happened. My body did engage. I was participating. I was doing things. I was responding, but it didn't feel like me. It felt like my body went in autopilot while I actually stepped back. So I was there, but not actually present. So it wasn't avoidance. It was losing agency while still functioning. And that distinction matters because from the outside, it can look like choice. From the inside, it didn't feel chosen at all. So what my body learned wasn't don't participate. It learned when things start to feel unsafe, the safest thing to do is just to keep going and disappear inside. Just stay agreeable, stay functional, don't make it worse. So my body kept performing even when I wasn't fully there anymore. That wasn't consent. That was actually survival. Because I wasn't fully present, memory didn't always clearly record. Later, I'd question myself. Why did I do that? Why didn't I stop? Why can't I remember everything? But the truth is, the part of me that could pause or choose wasn't fully online. This is the same reason receiving still feels dangerous. Receiving doesn't just feel like receiving, it feels like losing control. It feels like expectations I didn't agree to, pressure that keeps expanding, and then blame. If I can't deliver what someone imagined, this ties directly into business because the fear in business isn't really about capability. It's not, can I do the work? It's more like, what if they expect more than I can give? And what if this keeps growing beyond what I agreed to? And what if I'm blamed for not meeting expectations that were never clear? That's the same old pattern, just dressed up professionally. Somewhere along my way, my system linked receiving money with losing autonomy. So money doesn't feel neutral. It feels heavy, loaded, risky. Not because I can't handle responsibility, but because responsibility used to mean I didn't get to opt out. This didn't only happen in childhood, it showed up again in adult relationships. I had a partner who started helping to fix things around my house, doing things, contributing in ways that look supportive. And at first it felt like care. But later, those same things were used as leverage. What had been given freely was reframed as debt. And that debt was used to push for control and access, even pressure around ownership of my house, all in under a year of knowing him. That was another moment where receiving turned into entrapment, not because I asked for too much, but because the giving was never clean. The expectations showed up later, and my body remembered. I wasn't scared to say no because someone forced me. I was scared to say no because I didn't want to offend him. I didn't want him to feel rejected. I didn't want him to feel unappreciated. I didn't want to lose what felt like care. And so I told myself, okay, it's fine. Let him feel good helping. It's not a big deal. But inside, I didn't feel like I really had a choice. Yes, logically, as adults, we have a choice, but trauma does not live in logic. It lives in belief, and beliefs can become handcuffs. So the belief underneath all of this was never about gifts. It was this: if I say no, I lose love. If I say no, I lose connection. If I say no, I lose my chance. That belief comes from emotional starvation. When love has been inconsistent, when care has been conditional, you don't experience kindness as neutral. You experience it as rare. So the smallest gesture can feel like a feast, not because it's big, but because you've been starving. And when you're starving, you don't negotiate. You don't risk offending the source of the food. Just accept it. Don't rock the boat. This would be a chance. It's not greed. It's survival. I also want to name something I know will come up, especially for the men that are here listening. This confusion doesn't live on one side. When someone is fawning or dissociating, it can be confusing from the outside. They may say yes. They may participate. They may not resist. But internally, they may not be fully present. That creates confusion on both sides. And we talk about consent like it's one simple thing, but it's actually layered. There's legal consent, relational consent, and nervous system consent. And most people are only taught the first one. The uncomfortable truth is someone can say yes and not be fully there. And that doesn't automatically make the other person a villain. It means we don't yet have shared language for this. My fear was never about blaming men. My fear was this: I can say yes and still not be present, and no one may notice. That's meant that my safety could rely on someone else interpreting my words. So my body learned how to function without me. Real safety doesn't come from perfect rules. It comes from presence, from being able to pause, from being able to stop, from knowing that stopping isn't an accusation. When you're in an intimate dynamic, there should be attunement, be able to pick up on the clues that each of you are fully engaged, fully present. Look in each other's eyes talk to each other, communicate, feel the body. Does it feel tense or does it feel open? So abundance for me now isn't about having more. It's about this: being able to receive without disappearing, being able to benefit without betraying myself, being able to say yes and still keep my no. That's real wealth. So, if any of this resonated with you, I want you to hear this. You're not blocked. You're not broken. You're not bad at receiving. Your body learned a rule that once kept you safe, and now you are allowed to update your system. Receiving doesn't make you dangerous. It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't mean you owe your body, your energy, or your life to anyone. You still get to choose, always. And if this landed, feel free to share it with someone who might need it. And if you're relearning safety, sovereignty, and clean receiving, you're not alone. I'm walking with you. And if you could take a moment and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the bell notification button, because I do tend to post randomly and I wouldn't want you to miss one of my posts. Also, when you like or comment below, even just an emoji, it really does help my algorithm and my channel to grow. If you have comments to make, did this make you think? Did it open you up? Did it resonate with you? Did you disagree with something? I'd love to hear what you have to say in relation to this topic. So please comment below. I enjoy reading them. And see me in the next video.